Today I'm going to tell you how to lose weight relatively quickly without a dramatic change to your diet or your lifestyle. However, disclaimer, I have a biomedical science degree, first class honors, but I'm not a doctor. So before you do anything, try anything that I say, make sure that you seek the help of your licensed doctor, physician, GP, health practitioner, whatever you want to call it, okay? Whatever I say today does not constitute medical advice. It's all my opinion, and you can take it with a pinch of salt. That being said, let's get into it. Right, okay, so I thought I would take an interesting approach to weight loss. For the most part, what you hear about probably is diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. However, I want to take a psychological and sort of neuroscientific approach to this, because I've realized that, like a lot of problems, it all starts from the mind. For some reason, we don't think of overeating or eating disorders as sort of a mental health issue or some sort of, problem that requires support and help. We don't see obese people or overweight people or people that consider themselves to have some sort of eating problem or lack of control around eating. We don't see it as an issue or something that requires empathy. If anything, we tend to look down on them. Society does, like, how did she get so big? How did they allow themselves to look like that and get to that stage? But when you see a drug addict, you're like, poor him. Or someone that has alcohol issues, there's sort of like an understanding that it's a problem, it's a disease, it's something that requires support. But when it comes to overeating and obesity, I don't think people with eating problems, I don't think they get as much sympathy and empathy and sort of support as they require, because I don't think people see it as a mental health issue, and I think it is, and I will tell you exactly why. I'm going to divide this podcast into multiple, parts. First, I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, so the fairly easy wins, some of which you may have heard before. Then I'll move on to my story, bit of background about me, my quote-unquote weight loss or weight management journey. And then I'll talk about 3 separate things to help you with your weight loss journey. I'm going to talk about, like I said, psychology and neuroscience of weight loss. And then I'll talk about sugar, which is a massive part. And then I'll move on to supplements and drugs. So I'm going to cover Ozempic, and I'm going to cover other sort of alternatives to Ozempic. So if that sounds like something you'll be into, then keep watching. All right, the low-hanging fruits. First of all, just because there is morning, afternoon, and night does not mean you have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't know who made up this rule. You don't have to eat if you're not hungry. It's one thing if you eat because, the food looks good, it smells good. That is a reason to eat. But first things first, don't just be eating for the sake of eating. I'm going to cover this in more detail later on, but you may have heard this before. Eat with a purpose. Don't eat just because. Eat because you're hungry. Eat because it smells good. Eat because it looks good. Don't just eat because, it's 2 p.m. time for lunch. It's 6 p.m. time for dinner. If you're not hungry, why are you eating? You might say, I don't want to wait till 8, 9 p.m. when it's too late and I'm hungry. Well, when it's 8, 9 p.m. and you are hungry, have a little snack, because it's late in the night. I don't want to eat a heavy meal. Have a little snack when you're actually hungry. So that's first things first, right? Don't just eat because, it's breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I woke up today around 11, almost noon. I didn't feel hungry until 2 p.m. And guess what? I didn't eat until 2 p.m. I had a protein shake because I was sort of doing things around the house and I didn't want to feel dizzy. So I made myself a little protein shake because, there's protein in it. Let me get a little bit of energy. But I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat, So that's the sort of mentality to take on. Number 2, probably heard this a lot of times. To lose weight, there's a simple equation to it. Calories in, calories out. You have to do one of 3 things. Ideally 2, but you have to do at least one of 3 things. Eat less, exercise more, or better still, eat less and exercise more. Like I said, the low-hanging fruits are the things that you've definitely heard before, but they're sort of I know I'm going to touch on it later for someone with eating disorders or just eating problems or just self-control around food problems. It's not easy to just say eat less. And that's why I said or exercise more. At the end of the day, in order to lose weight, you have to be consuming less in terms of calories. You need to be losing more than you're consuming. It's a simple math equation. And an easy way to do that, like people, know already, exercise. For you to lose more weight, if you want to keep eating the same way you're eating, then you've got to exercise more. There is no secret to this. You've got to exercise more. Take the stairs instead of the lift. Walk home instead of taking the bus. Go to the gym, lift more weight, things like that. If you want to continue eating the way you do, then exercise more. If you don't like exercising, I speak to myself here. If you don't particularly like this gym or walking, I don't like walking for long, then you got to eat less. Okay? Doesn't mean you don't eat what you want. Misconception. You can actually still eat anything you want in moderation. That is the caveat. In moderation. There's no particularly evil food or bad food. Ice cream is not a bad. I love ice cream. No one on this earth can take ice cream away from me. Okay, if they stop making ice cream, I will make my own. But do I eat ice cream every day? Of course not, because everything in moderation. And better still, a combination of both. Okay, both diet and exercise is sort of almost a sure way, unless you have health issues that will prevent you from losing weight. There are hormonal issues that will do that. Unless you have that, then you need to burn more than you are consuming. And number 3, the third thing that I would say, just because I've said at the start, this is a relatively quick way. I'm going to tell you how to lose weight relatively faster. It doesn't mean it's going to be snap your finger, unless you want to get some kind of surgery, or go on Ozempic, which I will mention later. You can't just lose weight overnight. Anyone selling all this weight loss pill is just most likely something to, take you to the toilet. Some of them are filled with like diuretics, so to make you pee a lot. So it looks like you're losing water weight, which water retention is actually a problem for a few people. I used to have a lot of water weight as well. So some, weight loss supplements or diuretics just make you pee a lot. Others are sort of like, the second, number 2, it makes you do number 2 a lot, which, gives you this false sense of weight loss. And it's not really weight loss. You're just, frequently releasing your bowel, emptying your bowel more often. And it's not sustainable. So the third low-hanging fruit, I would say, is this has to be a journey to you. You have to think of this as a journey. You can't think of it as, there's no magical way to lose weight unless you're considering surgery or Ozempic. Right, okay. We've covered the low-hanging fruits now. We've covered the things that you've probably heard several times. Let's get into the meat of it now. This is going to be comprehensive, so sit down, relax, and enjoy. I want to tell you a little bit about my weight management / weight loss journey. In 2023, I was 59 kg. I'm currently 54.2. So essentially, I've dropped 5-ish kg. And 2 of these 5 was dropped within 2 months. Literally within 2 months. And, that's when I saw the difference. I was like, oh, shit, wait a minute. And I cannot say it's one specific thing that helped, because I did so many things at the same time. So it's the cumulative effect of most of what I've said and what I'm about to say that will actually help you lose weight, and it's helped me lose weight. Number 1, when I talk about, psychological, neurological approaches to weight loss, number 1 is the science of habit. Research shows that it takes about 66 days to form a habit. So once you've decided that, okay, I actually want to lose weight this time around, I am committed to losing weight. You have to find a way to incorporate whatever it is that you've decided to do to lose weight. You have to find a way to, 1, incorporate it into your lifestyle for at least 66 days. And 2, practice something called habit stacking. Let me explain. It's a way of rewiring your brain to do one thing after the other. For instance, most people, when they wake up from bed and turn off their alarm, the next thing they do is scroll on their phone. For a lot of people, that's what they do. For me, first thing I do when I wake up and I turn off my alarm, next thing I do is sip some water, right? I sip some water because I always wake up first. I sip some water and go pee or whatever. And then I do the next thing and then the next thing. When I'm at work or even when I'm working from home, I always time my going to the toilet to pee with filling up my water bottle with more water. Habit stacking. They're sort of things that we tend to do alongside each other because they may or may not complement each other. It's a way of making it relatively easier to do the next thing because it's a habit. You're stacking up habits so that there's less activation energy to do the next thing. So for instance, if you want to exercise more, your habit normally, let's say you get into work and click on the elevator, right? How about this time, instead of clicking on the elevator, you go to the lift, turn around, right? And take the stairs. That your normal habit is to go to the lift and press the button. For the first few days, you're going to go to the lift and forget. You're going to go to the lift and go, oh, I said I'll take the stairs. Now, you're going to keep doing that for a few days. But how about each time you go to the lift to press it, it's like a cue in your head to take the stairs, right? And then before you know it, you're no longer going to the lift, you're going to the stairs. And then you can stack it on top of something else next time. So for instance, now that you're going straight to the stairs, to take the stairs up to your office, you're now, filling up your water bottle. For some reason, that's the analogy coming to my head. Filling up the water bottle on the way to your desk. Just do things that are sort of complementary, things that lead to another, things that are sort of the next step. After lunch, I stand at my desk. Luckily, we have a standing desk. So I've started to do this for the past 3-4 months now. I would stand at my desk for at least an hour. Fun fact, standing rather than sitting and being docile for hours actually burns twice as much calories as sitting down. So you're just standing, not even pacing back and forth. You just standing in one place actually burns twice as much calories as sitting down. twice as much, because it takes your body a certain amount of energy to keep you upright, to keep you in the upright position, to keep you standing without you falling down. So your muscles are working, you're expensing energy, you're burning calories. So for you, your next habit stack could be, as soon as I finish my food and take my empty plate back to my desk, if you make your own lunch, or, toss out your lunch, whatever it is you had for lunch, in the bin. As soon as you leave the work kitchen or wherever it is you've had lunch, go straight to your desk. Your next habit will be to go on the standing desk. Move, raise your desk up to stand for an hour. If you don't have a standing desk, how about your habit could be, as soon as I've finished my food, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk. Research actually shows that taking a 10 to 20-minute walk after eating actually helps you speed up digestion. It helps your metabolism because it gets it all, moving. You're kind of like burning that energy. You're activating, your bowel, So that could be your next habit stacking. And then after, walking, and when you come back to your desk, then you're drinking water, which is also good for your digestion. See? So the point is to stack healthy habits on top of each other and hopefully replace those healthy ones, replace your unhealthy habits with healthy habits. So that over time, it becomes easier to do those things that you say you want to do those new habits, to do those new healthy habits, to live that more, fit and healthy lifestyle that you so badly want. Health, habit stacking is a good way to help you with that. Number 2, you need to consider stress. How stress hormones actually play into your weight loss journey. So high stress, people may or may not know this, high stress actually leads to cravings. And not just any cravings, you crave sugar and more high fat food. So you're craving fatty, when you're stressed, because of the hormone cortisol, you're not even craving just ordinary food. You're not only getting hungry, but now you're craving sugary and high fat food just because you're stressed. It's all in your psychology. It's all in your psyche. It's all up here. Stress hormones like cortisol, even adrenaline, when you go to the gym and you've just pumped, all the weights and lifted all the weights, do you not feel hungry? Stress hormones like adrenaline actually kind of make you crave food because they're sort of quote unquote fitness people, gym bros, whatever. They sort of know that, okay, protein shake, again, habit stacking right after the gym to sort of replenish that energy that you've just burnt. Do you not know that overthinking, thinking too hard, working hard actually burns calories? Working hard burns calories. So when you go to gym to lose calories, your body sort of wants to replenish it. But it's a weird one with stress. You can actually lose weight for being stressed, but when you're too stressed, it helps you retain weight. One, water retention, which I'm not going to get into. High cortisol can lead to water retention, which makes you feel like bloated and your face is all puffy. But also it makes you crave fatty, unhealthy, sugary food. Unlike adrenaline, where you can say, oh yeah, I'm going to have a protein shake instead of a fatty food after working out because, I need to replenish that. So stress hormones like cortisol, mainly cortisol, will drive you into overeating and eating unhealthy food, reaching for unhealthy food. So if you've been struggling with, losing weight and being healthy and eating right, and check your stress hormones. How much sleep are you getting? There's some study that figured out, I don't particularly remember the details of it, but you not sleeping enough is cutting a certain amount of years off your life or something like that. It was a bit scary. But yeah, stress is a huge one when it comes to weight loss. So you could say, I've been trying everything, been working out, I've been trying to eat well. Check your stress hormones. Maybe you are eating a healthy breakfast, but then because you're so stressed, before it's even lunchtime, you've grabbed, a chocolate bar, you've grabbed, some cookies before it's even lunch break, So that's my second advice for you. Check your stress hormones and ensure that you're actually getting enough sleep. Because if you're not, then psychologically, you're just not even in the right place to, properly manage your weight. This is a huge one. Number 3, your relationship with food. This one I want to be as empathetic as possible with, because I sort of get it. In all transparency, I've always been fairly skinny. I've never been a big girl. So I cannot say that I relate at all to people that have always been oversized all their life or have a, eating disorder, eating problem, weight problem all their life. I got, good sort of slimmer side genes from my dad. However, I know that I have the tendency to gain weight because on my mom's side, they're not very skinny. And in 2020, I'm going to put a picture up here, picture of me in 2020, what I looked like when, nobody was exercising, everyone was stuck at home, your regular routine was like thrown off and you're not really healthy. So I looked big and puffy, and you could say, yeah, you're not fat, you're not obese, but to me, that was the unhealthiest and the biggest I've ever been. And then this is me now, with a better lifestyle, healthier, eating better, exercising more, and practicing all these things I'm going to talk about and I've already talked about in this video. However, it's not the same as someone that's always been big. So I want to have sympathy for them. But let's still talk about it. A little bit of tough love. A big problem with overeating or people that overeat is their relationship with food. You have too much of an emotional relationship with food. Hear me out. A lot of people, and I've done this before, we're such emotional eaters. We eat when we're angry, we eat when we're sad, we eat when we're bored, we eat when we're happy, we eat when we're excited, we eat every single time, every single mood, food. Every single mood, food. I mean, even like when you go for a breakup, the staple is ice cream. When you're sad, ice cream. When you're happy, you're celebrating with, some alcohol, calories. Unhealthy things. We tend to feed ourselves unhealthy things and eat unhealthy things when we're emotional, whatever emotion it is. And I mean, that's actually very much in theme with what I talk about on this podcast. Sustaining a, relatively moderate and sort of not too spiky, a baseline level of positive emotion. Just not too high or too low. It's just sustainable, a balance. Because if you're able to keep your emotions in check, then you don't really experience the stress-related eating, sadness-related eating, emotional-related eating. Fix your relationship with food. I've heard this somewhere before. Look at that food and say, you won't make me happy. You won't make me any happier than I already am. Yes, do that. Maybe you think you're crazy, but look at that food and say, you won't change my life. Me eating you right now would not drastically change the quality of my life or make me so much happier than I already am or so much better than I already feel. Yeah, I'll feel slightly better, but that old tub of Ben and Jerry's that I'm eating, is it really worth it? You need to change your relationship with food. I've watched one or two people who have, who are more on the sort of larger side. I've watched how they eat. I've watched how they talk about food. And I can see why it's such a problem, losing weight. Because when it comes to food, and I'm going to tell you why I understand this. When it comes to food, any food, they get so excited. They're so they get even fidgety. They get so excited to the point that they're fidgety. Their whole body is just so, at such a state of unrest. They're so, agitated by the presence of this food, like I have to have you sort of feeling. Fix that. That needs to go. And I say that I sort of relate because I'm a sweet tooth. I grew up as such a sweet tooth. Only recently have I curbed it, and I'll tell you how later on. It's actually going to be part of this video. So I understand that excitement. When I see ice cream or cake or donuts, ooh, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Literally, I get so excited. And it wasn't until I saw that in someone else, someone that does that about practically all foods, that I was like, oh shit, that's why you can't lose weight. It's because this food seems like, so much like joy to you. You're like, oh my God, that you get so excited. By the time the food lands in front of you, you're eating at the speed of lightning. You're literally eating at the speed of lightning, not lighting. It's lightning, the way that how fast lightning strikes. Zzz, that's how fast they're eating. They're so agitated, like, oh, food. No, that needs to stop. The way you think of food needs to stop. And no, I'm not saying you should never get excited for food. I'm not saying you should just eat to survive. No. But what I'm saying is that you can't have that negative relationship with food and expect to lose weight. You can't look at food as the only source of pleasure in your life, is what I'm trying to say. For you to be able to lose weight, you have to see food for what it is. Food is just food. I know. Easier said than done. It's like me looking at ice cream and you're telling me I can't buy it, I can't eat it. Excuse me. But guess what? I've controlled myself. I used to eat ice cream almost every day. I've sat down and eaten a tub of Ben and Jerry's before, and I wondered why I was like so bloated and feeling so sluggish and feeling some kind of way. Of course, I've consumed Lord knows how many 600 plus calories and loads of grams of sugar. So when I say I kind of get it, I kind of get it. I used to have a bad relationship with sugar, just as people that have an eating disorder or, put that on the bigger side, have a bad relationship with food. Maybe now that I've said it, you would actually notice it in yourself or in other people when you see, bigger people and how they look at food and how they interact when food is around. It's a lot. And I have a lot of empathy for them because I'm thinking, I kind of get it because, I am that way with sugar, or used to be that way inclined with sugar. But emotional eating has to stop. In order for you to lose weight, you have to fix your relationship with food. It has to start from here. If you need to go to therapy, if you need to do like affirmations and look at the food and go, I have self-control over you. You will not make me drastically happier than I already am. You are not the main sole source of my happiness. If you have to do that, do it. You will not bring me dramatically more pleasure than I already have in my life. You will not make my life that much better just from eating you. Do it. Trust me on this one. Just trust me on this one. If there's anything I've said before now, this is the one that I think has one of the biggest benefits or most likely change your life and help you with your weight management, weight loss journey. This is the holy grail. Change your relationship with food. And number 4, which, wraps up my advice with, the psychology and neuroscience of food and eating and overeating, the mindset shift. I know you've probably heard this before, but you have to envision yourself as the person that you want to be. What do I mean by that? Fitness is not just some kind of like habit that you pick and drop. It's not like, oh, once I reach this goal, once I reach this like arbitrary number, I'm going to feel so much better. Once I lose 20 kg, once I lose 50 kg, no. You have to see fitness as a lifestyle, first of all. And you can think of this as two things. You can think of this in 2 ways. One, that shit, am I going to have to like maintain this lifestyle forever and ever and ever? Or you can see it another way, switch it around and say, well, it means that diet starts tomorrow. that I can always start tomorrow. And no, I don't mean always restart your unhealthy lifestyle. No. I mean that if you fall off the wagon one day, if you don't go gym today, if you eat too much ice cream tomorrow, if you overeat for dinner today, it does not matter. Because guess what? You've got the rest of your life ahead of you. The mindset shift. If fitness is going to be a lifestyle for you, then it doesn't matter if you don't do something. If for all week you don't exercise, if for all week you're sad and you overeat, if for all week you don't do whatever it is, if for all week you're binge eating, okay, that's fine. Don't be so hard on yourself, because what? It's a lifestyle. Guess what? Tomorrow you start all over again. Okay? It's a lifestyle. It's the mindset shift. Envision yourself as that person. Think of yourself as, the manifestation people normally say this, like, envision the life you want to live and who you think you want to be. If it's about thinking of yourself as a particular size or in a particular body, if there's someone you look at and go, oh, yeah, they're really fit, I would like to look at that. Okay. Start to get motivation from that. Start to extract motivation from that. Sometimes when I'm at the gym, and I'm on the stepper, the climber thing, and I'm getting so tired. I'm panting. I'm over, hyperventilating, and I go, no. The person I want to be, like, it's a weird one. I picture myself as someone that's like running. I literally I picture myself running, like going on a fast run, not just like the run they go on the street, the hot girl runs. No. I'm thinking of like the Olympics, the people that run in the Olympics, the 100 meter, 200 meter races. I sort of picture myself doing that and how much energy it takes to do that and sort of like being that person. And I don't know, it's a weird one. It's all in the head. It's all in your head. It's all psychology. It's all neuroscience. It's like, because I've envisioned myself doing it, I just get this like surge of energy from nowhere and I just keep going. I've said this before in my YouTube video where I talked about Physical 100, the Netflix show about fitness, and how when you think you've literally like lost it all, when you think you can't possibly go any further, there's always one more you can do. If you're on the stepper, there's always one more step you can take. If you're squatting, there's always one more squat. You can do it. It's all in your head. Your only limitation is you. It's your brain. It's it's in your head. I know people say this a lot, but it's so true. You are your biggest limitation. And just picture yourself as that person. I want to be the gym goer. I want to be that person that wakes up at 5 a.m. Well, I don't do that. But if you want to be that, you need to like envision it for yourself. What would the best version of yourself do? What would the fit version of yourself do? Will they really eat all of that? Will they really consume that much food? No. Portion control. Eat in a smaller plate. That works. Eat in a smaller plate. You don't have to eat more than you need. If you feel full, then stop eating. You don't have to finish what's on the plate. In fact, people have said eat to your 80% full and then drink water to fill the 20. And honestly, as soon as I feel like, I'm full, I wrap the rest up. I take it back home. I don't have to finish. And when I look at my portions now, it's dramatically reduced from what it used to be, because now I don't eat when I'm serving my own food, I do meal preps to work. I cook once a week, by the way. I'm not trying to pretend I'm this healthy person that does everything right. No, I only cook once a week. I eat out quite a bit, but again, portion control and all that, and opting for the healthier options. But when I do my meal prep, like my eyes now, it's like I know exactly what my tummy needs and I put that exact portion. Whereas before, I just fill up the top because it's the size of the top. Why? Why do you need to fill up the food up to the brim of the container? Who made these rules up? You know what I mean? And it's just something that you would do subconsciously. And it's something that you can consciously undo. The mindset shift. Fitness is a lifestyle. If I fall off, I'll start again. I want to be that person that looks good, that feels good. you know, just you need to like embody an all new persona. You know, think of yourself as that person that you want to become. And then someday you would wake up and be like, oh shit, I am that person. I have become that person. Okay, we're done with the old psychology bit. We're done with the old, neuroscience bit. Let's move on to sugar. I know what you're thinking, and no, this is not the end of the video. The recording ended up going over an hour long, so I decided to split it into 2 different videos. So that would be up in a couple of days. Subscribe and stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. My name is Anjy, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.